Hello everyone, I'm Evan. I've been doing parkour and tricking for about 4 years now. I'm going to show you a method I've taught plenty of other people how to backflip with successfully. First, we're going to go through the prerequisites that might help you on your journey to learning how to backflip, and then we're going to go through the method step by step so you can learn yourself. Alright, the first prerequisite is going to be our backwards roll. The backwards roll is very helpful because it helps you get rid of that scared feeling of going over your head in a backflip, and also helps you get better awareness in your backflip and your body positioning. I'll show you what that looks like right now. Our second prerequisite is our bridge. Bridge is important because it gives you enough strength in your back handspring and your Macaco. Alright, our third prerequisite is going to be our Macaco. This one really gets you used to the jumping motion into the backflip and also getting used to going over your head before you start to jump up into it. Alright, our fourth prerequisite is going to be a back handspring. Back handspring is basically just a backflip with hands. Also, the main difference is that you sit back into it as opposed to a backflip where you're going to jump straight up in the air. Alright, so now that we've actually gone through all the prerequisites, I'm going to go through the method and show you how to do each individual skill, and there will also be slow-mos of each individual skill. I also just wanted to give you a reminder that you need to put a lot of work and practice into the skill. This isn't something that you should just watch one time and go and try a backflip. You need to be putting in reps to each individual skill. This isn't something that you're going to learn in 5 minutes. It's possible, but most of you guys are going to spend quite a while trying to learn how to backflip. So put in the time and effort. Don't just rush it. You might get hurt. One thing that will also really help is going to be a little hill or slant you can do this backwards roll down. It's going to allow you to get a little bit more momentum going into it. Alright, the first thing we're going to go through is a backwards roll. The backwards roll is really tricky because a lot of people roll and they get stuck on their neck. One of the main things you need to do is you need to push to get over your head. You initiate the push once your hips start to come over your head. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how this looks. Alright, so your hands are facing backwards. Squat down, roll. Alright, so the next most important step is you're going to end up being in a position where you have to push. The push is very important. It basically makes the roll. So once your knees get over your head, you're gonna have your hands like this on the ground. Your hands are gonna be on the ground and you're gonna push off of them. So let's start our momentum. Arms are up by our ears. Squat down, roll back, and push. Another key thing for this backwards roll is right when you push, you're gonna kick up. Extend your legs out. They should be in a tuck position the whole time. In this position while you're going over, right? So once you push up, you gotta straighten them out. That will help you get more extension to get you go upwards so you can land on your feet. One of the main things I always see with this is people trying to roll over their head. It crunches your neck, it hurts, you don't wanna do that. Make sure you're pushing and extending your legs so that you're not crunching your neck. Second step is going to be a Macaco. Your hand is facing out that way behind you. So it's going to be facing behind you as if you were pointing back, hand on the ground. Now, you're in almost like this tabletop position, right? But you're not holding it up, your core is not flexed. Then you are going to jump off your feet and go around. You can start by just going like this. So you can start by going like that. And then you're slowly going to bring it until you're actually doing a real Macaco, which is like this, jumping up. Next, you're gonna learn how to put your hand behind you in the Macaco. So you're gonna start with your hand in front of you, then you're gonna point it this way, put it on the ground, right? So you're gonna point it this way, reach, and Macaco. Now that you've learned that, you can slowly start to bend your knees less and less, and then do Macaco. Eventually, you should be able to do the Macaco standing. One thing that's important to remember with Macaco is that you're sitting back into it. So there should always be some kind of leg bend. So you sit back and jump backwards onto your wrist. Alright, the next step is going to be the scariest thing we face yet. We're going to be turning our Macaco into a back handspring. The way we're going to do this is we're going to do our Macaco, but we're going to start with our one hand down, and this hand, as soon as you jump over, you're going to place it down as well. So you jump over and place down your other hand. Then, using the same method we learned for Macaco, we're going to bend our knees less and less, and we're going to jump into it, two hands down, until you get up to standing. Now that you have that standing, you're going to work on going over your head more. We have been going off to the side. Now you're going to have to go off to the side less and less. So this time I'm going to go more over my head. The next step is going straight over your head. This is going to be really scary. Also, one of the most key important things for a back handspring is you sit back into it. Just like we were talking about with the Macaco, you are sitting back into your back handspring. Let's say you have your jump into it, you sit back and extend out. Now that you've gotten your back handspring, you need to do it until it's not scary anymore or until you're comfortable with it. I would at least do 10 reps before moving on to the next step. Next thing we're gonna work on, we are gonna do a one hand back handspring. This is called a Valdez. This is so that you can work on getting as little contact with the ground as possible. You can start off to the side again because we've been doing the Macaco. So the Macaco, you're jumping into that. You're gonna go over your head now. So you're gonna do your back handspring with one arm. Make sure you don't hurt your wrist because it could be a lot of impact if you're not flipping right. The idea is you want to put as little pressure on that wrist as possible. I would do this with both hands at least 5 times before moving on to the next step. Next, we're going to work on doing a back handspring with no hands. Basically, you've just learned a Valdez. The Valdez has one hand. You've done it with each side. So you've done it without this arm, and you've also done it without this arm. Now, if you take both hands away, you have a back handspring with no hands. You are going to go sit back, and you really need to drive your hips for this one. Rotate around as fast as you can. Be careful because this can hurt your ankles. But there we have it. That is a backflip. It's basically a back layout. Now that you've learned that, we're gonna work on an actual backflip set, and we're gonna get a nice back tuck. The backflip set is gonna be different from the back handspring because one of the main things I emphasized was in the back handspring, you're sitting back. In the backflip, we do not sit back. In the backflip, you're gonna want to jump straight up. If you're sitting back, you're gonna kill your height. You're gonna practice bending your knees. Arms are down when you're bent down, and arms come up when you go up. So if you're down, your knees are bent. If your knees are bent, your arms are down. When you come up, you're jumping up. Legs are down, jump up. record yourself. Make sure that your set for your backflip looks exactly like my set. Compare it to that slow-mo until yours looks exactly the same. Once yours looks exactly the same, you can move on to the next step. The next thing we're going to learn is our tuck. The tuck is very important if you want a high backflip that's very easy to do anywhere. We're just laying down. Bring your knees up and put your hands on the front of your knees just below them. You should be holding your shins. This is the prime place you want to tuck. You should be flexing very hard when you tuck. If you're in the air and you're not flexing, you have a high chance of not flipping. So there's somebody that nearby who can pick you up. They can grab onto your legs and try and lift you up in the air. And you should be able to hold this tuck position the whole time. If you can't hold the tuck position, you're probably not ready. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a tuck jump. You're gonna start your set, and when you go up, you're gonna tuck. So, here, set, and tuck, okay? Now it's time to do your backflip. Remember to have a really strong tuck, jump up, and don't sit back. Sitting back is gonna kill your height. It will also help very much if you spot something in front of you. Spotting something in front of you until you're forced to flip is gonna really help you get your maximum height. So this is what your backflip should look like. Hey, thank you for watching. Let me know if you learned how to do a backflip. Also on Fiverr, I should have a class where you're able to pay and watch a video, and then you're able to send in your own videos of you trying the progressions or doing a backflip, and then I'll send you corrections and it will help you progress super fast. So I'll probably have a link for that below where you can go do that if you want. Thanks for watching.